Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anyone listening?
Yeah, this one's from Mallory. I'm listening, thanks to St. Monica. And just really want to thank y'all for providing podcasts over the holiday, because the holiday break pod drought has hit me hard as someone still working this week.
Listen, we're desperate for approval. We are not gonna, can't stop, won't stop, you know?
I really like that comment, though. That's like, went out of her way.
That's so nice.
Such a nice thing. And
yes.
like, you're welcome and thank you.
Honestly, can I say?
Please.
I take immense pride in our consistency. Like we had COVID. Mm-hmm. We're in the throes of holiday stuff. I'm not going to lie, like squeezing the podcast in has been a challenge.
Yeah.
And so I very much appreciate that. Yes. I take a lot of pride in like going back to totally mommy days. I forget what it was, but I think given how much I had pre-recorded or whatever, I think I took 2 weeks off after giving birth.
Yeah.
In a vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's very sweet.
We're not going anywhere. We're here.
We're here.
The video clips did dry up a little bit over the holiday break. Didn't have as much time for that, but this year we're going to come out with a bang, maybe.
Well, we're just going to stay what it's been.
Stay what it's been. Yeah.
So this is, I guess,
New Year's.
The New Year.
Happy New Year. Everyone,
we're in 2024.
Yeah.
When this airs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Not great yet.
Not great yet? Mm-mm. Why?
I'm still I've been in a funk, sort of. Mm-hmm. And I've been in a body funk, which maybe is just the aftermath of COVID.
Yeah.
So I just do not feel right. I feel very anxious about everything. So I'm rolling into the new year, not in the best of ways. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I guess I kind of knew it. I feel very like pickled.
What's pickled mean?
Pickled.
Oh, because of all the sex.
Okay, hilarious. God, you're really tickled by that pickled. I feel like there's been a lot of rich food and drinking and like my body, it's not good for the body. And on the heels of being sick and, I was just putting on my face for this here podcast and I was like, woof. The skin's looking kind of sallow. And I know
what you mean there. Like yesterday, I didn't even want to eat anything. I was like, there's not a single food that sounds right to me just because probably we've been eating so much crap.
No, we haven't been eating crap. Isn't
that what you just kind of said?
Rich food is different from crap. Maybe you've been eating crap. I take a little bit offense to that because I worked so hard to cook all of these amazing meals and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's a very big difference.
So what's to you?
It's not like you've been eating Pringles and, I mean, maybe you have.
I ate so many Ruffles yesterday.
Okay, well then fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like we ate incredibly well, actually, over the last few weeks, and I went to great lengths to...
Yeah, sure. That's not what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like
a lot of booze.
A lot of booze. I guess, a lot of cheese, right?
Yes, always.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but what I wanted to ask you was, we spent the week over Christmas at the cabin. Mm-hmm. To me, it was like all of my dreams come true.
Yes.
There was one very beautiful snowy day.
Yeah.
I could have used a little bit more snow, but, beggars can't be choosers. Mother Nature is allowed to blip up here and there. But for me, it was really dreamy. We ate really well. Yes. It was cozy. It was low key. We had a lot of like relaxation time, playing cards, doing puzzles, all of the things that and I felt like multiple times weepy looking at a roaring fire, our Christmas tree, snow falling outside. Mm-hmm. The kids were so happy.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask you is, were you carrying this, like, I know that you weren't feeling amazing the whole time, nor was I physically, but did you enjoy it in that way?
Yes and no. My honest answer is I don't think it could have gone smoother and been like just such nice of a time.
Mm-hmm.
But I never felt like good in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And on the tail end of it, I have like so much anxiety going into the new year. I would say.
Why?
I don't know. It's just one thing that did dawn on me is I haven't been taking my medicine. I've maybe taken my medicine 2 times since we've been on break, maybe 3 times or something. So that might have a lot to do with it because my meds can really help with that. But yeah, I have so much anxiety going into a year that I'm actually very excited about.
Yeah.
But feel very overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've seen multiple like Instagram memes of like the week between Christmas and New Year's of being like, everyone kind of feels like, oh, what is happening? And yes, it's relaxing in one way, but also this kind of weird anxiety and this feeling of like dread, but knowing it's for no good reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, I can't get out of this year fast enough. This past year has felt, I want to start being positive. Silver lining, lots of great family time, tons of momming. Like, I feel so connected to the 3 of you.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've been on pause in a very frustrating way, career-wise.
Yeah, the strike.
I have felt I had dinner with my dear friend, Andrea Savage, last night, and I was telling her I felt really isolated from, like, the community of people. And it didn't help that we had COVID. Like, the few Christmas parties that we attend that we look forward to every year, we didn't get to go to and see people, and that's usually kind of an anchor, I feel like, going into the new year for me is kind
That's interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I feel really like I'm floating out in space. And what I've been told over and over career-wise is things are going to pick up after the holidays. Now, that might be interesting if they really don't, and it's still kind of wheels turning.
Yeah.
But my hope is that they will, and I'll kind of feel like, okay, now we're cooking, and things are happening, and I have a path. Like, that's another thing. I don't have a path laid out in front of me.
Yeah.
Nor do you.
Yeah.
I mean, we both have aspirations that we're working towards, obviously, but so I guess I think I'm the flip side of the same coin for you, where I'm like,
how so?
You have this sense of anxiety going into the new year and feeling like, ugh. I'm like, get me to that new year.
Oh, I see.
Bye-bye, 2023.
Well, I think I shared that where I'm very excited of the prospects of the new year, and I have some like things that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I'm kind of just like overwhelmed by all of it right now, or something.
Well, maybe it's just this weird time.
Yeah. And I do think some of it has to do with my body. I just wish I was feeling right.
Can I say something not that you're going to hate? And I know this has been the season and time. Sure. You could stand to eat better. I feel like the choices you've been making, and on top of what's already been really rich foods and stuff, have been, it's almost like you're like, well, I feel terrible. I might as well go all in.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of like really, in a sense, I have thought several times over the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If our roles were reversed and you had high cholesterol, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing?
It must be infuriating for you to
It
see
is.
how I
It
eat.
kind of is.
And when the doctor calls, I was like, everything looks great.
Lordy.
I was just born with this metabolism or something.
It's not metabolism.
It's not?
No.
Aren't I metabolizing all the foods in a way that aren't that are affecting me in different ways than, say, other people?
I guess, but it's like cholesterol's it's not this. When you say metabolism,
Yeah.
usually that means like your body's ability to burn off calories or how it uses the calories, right?
I thought it was just like how you
when people are
do
like,
the
I have a
food.
high metabolism, it's like, you know, we have a friend that we joke about, like, her metabolism is so high that she burns more calories eating the taco than what's in the taco.
Oh.
That's what, like, I don't know the science behind it. Maybe you're right in some way, but
yeah, well, I know what you're talking about, like that expression.
yeah.
But I know what people mean when they say that, but I thought it still meant metabolizing is like how your body does what it does with the food. But maybe, who knows?
But when we're talking about, cholesterol, do you know what cholesterol is?
Energy?
No. Okay. That was just so validating that you don't know what you're talking about.
Is it like
It's like a buildup in your bloodstream.
I was gonna say sludge.
Kind of, yes. And then it can build up and become plaque, and it can harden in your arteries. So
What's it called before it's plaque? Cholesterol?
yeah, it's like cholesterol. I'm sure there are doctors listening and going like, you fucking idiots. But
for your sake, I hope that you're right in all of this and that we're
well,
both
I'm
not
definitely
wildly wrong.
I'm more right than you. I know
Yeah.
that for a fact.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you say I have this metabolism, and by the way, you do have a certain metabolism, you have a certain body type, but it's not what it once was.
What do you mean?
I mean,
my physique?
Well, no, I'm not trying to, I'm not being mean here. I'm just saying, I don't like, I think in your mind, I don't want you writing the story of I can have in and out 3 times a day and it's never going to catch up to me. It will.
This is so depressing because what we're getting after this for lunch is like so ridiculously crazy.
But for you, I'm getting a salad.
And like a peppermint shake.
Yeah.
Garlic tater tots.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a huge difference between what you're getting and I'm getting.
Really? What are you getting?
I'm gonna get a burger and tots.
A burger, shake. Just a burger? What's on that burger?
I don't know which one I'm gonna get yet.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of vegetables. Mm-hmm. You can say there's not a big difference. Maybe like calorically there's not, although I still think there probably is. But I'm getting vegetables and roughage and vitamins and things that you don't get because you don't eat the vegetables.
Right.
I don't know. I'm coming down. I think I am mad about the cholesterol. I really do. You get in bed every night and you have your ice cream and you follow it with Pringles. I'm like, what the fuck? It's so not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's...
Is it because I'm metabolizing it different?
Yeah, I guess so. Take it. It is frustrating.
Is it? It really? Have you?
Yes.
Hold on.
When we go anywhere, you're like, I'll have the like pulled pork, like, I mean, whatever heavy duty like Widowmaker meal that they have.
Right.
You're getting it.
But we've never talked about this. It legit, is it frustrating right now us talking about it? Or you've had the thought cross your mind of like, oh, he's getting like, he can get that?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Do you know what my situation would be if I had ice cream and Pringles? I had ice cream in bed every night followed by Pringles. First of all...
Number one, I don't do the Pringles anymore. It's very rare. I wish I could do it, but you object so much to the salt and vinegar smell in the bedroom, which why would anyone be, averse to salt and vinegar smell right before bed?
I think our bodies are very different. They work differently. It does really frustrate me. Yes.
I gotcha.
And it frustrates me, and I also have concern because I don't think this honeymoon phase that has gone for 44 years so far is going to last forever. And I think you're very set in your ways, and like it's going to be, but maybe it will last forever. I don't know.
But you're also, I understand the concern, but that's also not really fair until we get to that point. And you and I are both very diligent about, going to the doctor once a year. Do you know what I mean?
Well, anyway, speaking of this, can I tell you something that happened that really was eye-opening?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went up to the cabin with the kids, and you were coming up later.
Yeah.
And
I stopped at In-N-Out that day.
Of course you did. And you stopped at Chick-fil-A on the way back. Like, it's just like a... Anyway, so we were up there and, wanting to know when you were going to get there, and like a magical week is going to begin. Yeah. Very excited. And I was also excited because you were coming up with a lot of the presents to put under the tree. And so we were tracking you.
Oh, cool.
With the feature on our phones where like I can kind of track you.
Yeah.
There's something about this feature where it pings from different, like it only works if it can kind of ping off of something, an internet connection or something. I don't know. It's
okay.
It gets spotty, like cell service and internet connection going up the mountain gets very spotty.
Yeah.
And
I think it's more just cell service. Like you probably could have seen me the whole way until I was coming up the mountain and didn't have service probably.
You also stopped at Target on the way. You made some stops, so it was like a kind of I couldn't gauge time-wise when we should expect you or not.
Okay.
So we were tracking you, and I could see you on the main freeway that's like down on the flatlands.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Post Target and like grocery store?
I think so, yes. But then you just kind of froze for a while. And I was like, well, that's weird. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope nothing happened. And then it showed that you were like at the base of the mountain. And I was like, okay, great.
It could have been, I was in that In-N-Out line forever.
I bet that's what, okay, I bet that's what it was.
Okay.
But then what happened was it seemed like it was taking a long, long time for some reason. And maybe my tracking was off, but for you to get up the mountain, and I was like, where is he? And this happened like, do you remember when I called you and you were very close to our house and you were like, hey, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What had happened right before that is that I was like tracking you and it was not able to tell me where you were, or it was telling me you were, and what it said was Hospital Road in a lake town nearby.
What?
And my heart stopped.
What?
And I thought, he's been in an accident and they took him to the nearest hospital, which was that other town.
On Hospital Road.
And I fucking freaked out. And it was, I constantly am thinking like, what's happening to people? But that felt so validating.
Wow.
But not that it should take this. I know that I love you so much, but that moment, and also us sitting there waiting for you to come and waiting for this magical week to start of like all of my dreams coming true.
And then me to have died right before that even begin. That would suck.
You have no idea. I mean, my whole life fell apart.
For a second.
And then I called you.
You called and I'm like, I'll be there in like 2 minutes.
And I was like, glory, glory, hallelujah. Having that set the stage for this week, that's why I think, I would have gotten weepy no matter what, but, and it almost scares me because I'm like, this is as good as it's going to get. Like this here is the nectar of life.
Sure.
Is everything I've wanted. Now, add in the fact that maybe like dream of dreams, I have my own show that I'm going to start in a few weeks or whatever. I don't, but let's say that was something that was happening.
Yeah.
It would almost be too good and would scare me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Things can't be too good.
Yeah.
But what if they could? I don't know.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I would probably be okay with like you starting that job the next week and like us having better siding on the cabin and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, our cabin outside is very sad. Well,
that wouldn't freak me out.
Right, having it all in place.
That is a very common thing for people to have the, like, if things are going too well, what bad's going to happen. Now, for you...
The other shoe to drop.
Right, that could be a very obvious thing for you.
How so?
Because...
I'm just kidding.
But when you experience tragedy in your life with your folks dying, would you say things were going great before that happened? Or you kind of... I mean, because it's obvious that should be a part of why you feel that way, but is that the fact? Were things going great?
Here's what I'll say. Of course, I'm going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My parents, and I almost feel disrespectful saying this, but was my experience and true, had a rocky marriage.
Okay.
There was a lot of issues. At one point, there was maybe not an unofficial separation, but I mean, my dad lived in Texas while I was in high school and commuted, and
sure,
they had a rocky situation. When they moved to
Can I jump in real quick? I'm curious and also kind of want to maybe clarify. Did you feel that rockiness, or because to me and you telling the stories over the years, it almost seemed like they tried to shield you from that rockiness, but there was like you putting the puzzle pieces together, maybe more as an adult, or ascribing rockiness to it. Does that make any sense to you? Because it wasn't like there was like fighting going on in your house.
There was sometimes.
There was a little of that. Okay, so there was a little friction.
It wasn't like they hid it. I mean, sometimes there were some huge fights, and I felt almost like I had to keep the peace.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and okay.
They had a much more traditional situation. I mean, my dad traveled a ton for work. He just wasn't like, he was very much I earn the money and I go on trips and I come home and I have little presents for my daughters. And my mom was kind of like the homemaker, and they both were really good at their roles, but there was always underlying tension. My dad was kind of hard to read, and he had a simmering kind of anger, I would say. And I hate to say this because he also was so loving. But basically, to answer your question is, they moved to Pasadena.
Yeah.
And my dad got this amazing job.
Yeah.
And they were together in a home. They bought their dream home.
Yeah.
And my mom was so happy and was like starting this new life. Both kids kind of off to college. They're going to travel. They fell back in love in front of me. I mean, it was weird almost. Like my dad would like pat my mom's butt and things like I remember very clearly. They loved each other. Like the way they interacted, there was this kind of, the simmer of resentment was not there at all. They loved each other. And it was wonderful to see. They were so happy together. And it was like this new, fresh start, kind of where everything's good. Mm-hmm. And then my mom got the cancer, the cants.
But so that chapter had begun before there was any...
Yes.
Got
And my mom was decorating her dream home, and like they had more money, and it was great.
Wow. Okay.
And then, when she got sick, it was like my dad switched a flip switched where he then was just like the doting, desperate husband trying to save her and taking great care of her and crying and Enya playing and all of this stuff. It was like a whole different person. So, so it kind of was like for them, everything was great. I mean, for me...
But in your life, I'm curious, that makes a lot of sense with them. Mm-hmm. In your life at the time, because you were going to Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
And what I know is you dropped out of school when you found out your mom got sick, right? Mm-hmm.
When I found out, it came back.
It came back. So
my freshman year of college,
she
was diagnosed around Thanksgiving.
And they had already moved to California?
Yes, they had lived there for like a year and a half, maybe, or a year. They moved there like the week that I graduated from high school. It was like everything was planned. I think they had bought the house. My dad had moved out here earlier, and he was at the those apartments, Oakwood apartments or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why he got the tennis stuff organized there. And then anyway, so yes, they had lived here before that, but they got the cancer diagnosis maybe it was like Christmas time. I remember coming home and them telling us, me and Anna Marie, but the way they told us was very much like, in my mind, I'm like, well, she had cancer before. It's fine. It was kind of like, this is not a huge deal. Then she had this Whipple surgery where they take out like half of all of your organs. And my sister, I think, was there. It was over the holidays. And
just to back up, they take out a half of your organs?
They cut many of your organs in half. It's a lot. It's a big surgery.
Christ. Okay.
But my mom recovered really well.
Okay.
And seemingly was doing great. And in a way...
You're a freshman.
I'm a freshman. So I've gone back now after the winter break. My sister took really good care of my mom along with my dad during that time. She recovered.
Okay.
We thought maybe she's like in the 0.5% of people who this works out for. And then I learned from my sister when on the One Sure Thing podcast, I kind of interviewed her about her time. My mom was taking me back to college, and when she flew back, she collapsed in an airport, which I didn't even know about until last year.
Yeah.
Timing-wise, I'm almost certain that was her taking me back to school, coming back home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when things were like, uh-oh. So 2 weeks in was when I dropped out of school and came back.
Of second semester.
Yeah, because of that collapsing, she went to doctors, she had tests done. It was confirmed that the cancer was back. Once it was confirmed, my dad called me, and that's when I was like, I'm coming home. So that was in September. And then she passed away in December.
Wait, so when did you come back?
September.
Your second year of school, sophomore year. So you got through that whole second semester freshman year.
Yeah. And I came home for the summer. I worked at my dad's company. He and I would go to work together every day.
And your mom was doing kind of okay then?
Yes.
Got it.
Things seemed good. So then after my mom died, in terms of the other shoe dropping, things were not good.
Yeah. But
here's the thing. Here's the kicker, I guess. Right before he died, it seemed like he was at peace about things in a way he hadn't been before. And that was confirmed when the doctor who was playing tennis with him called me and my sister, and she told us that I'll get teary, that of course he turns out was about to have a massive heart attack, but was taking breaks. So they were sitting on the bench and talking a lot. And this is her first time playing tennis with them. This poor doctor. Can you imagine?
No, I can't. I thank God it was a doctor that had some semblance to know what to do, even if that's just calling 911.
Or getting in. Yeah, totally.
Can you imagine playing tennis with someone you've never really met before and they died? I would not know what to do.
Yeah, me neither. But she told us that he had told her about my mom and that it had been really hard and that, he had taken me and my sister on their honeymoon trip. For any new nobodies, we went on my parents' honeymoon kind of map, went to Garmisch in Austria and then around Germany.
Retraced their
Munich.
honeymoon steps, yeah.
Yeah. And then that he felt like he knew me and Anna Marie were going to be okay.
Whoa.
And that was kind of the last conversation he had.
Right.
So, yeah, I do feel a little bit it makes me nervous when things feel too good.
But you're ascribing that to them, sort of. Like, you saw them have this new chapter. They moved to California. They were so happy. Your mom got sick.
Yeah, I wasn't like
You weren't
crushing
like,
life in a way that I'm now.
Well, yeah, I'm just curious. Like, you weren't like, like
No.
ruling Miami of Ohio. Like, this is my town.
No, I was
just like a
lost.
typical complicated freshman year, or?
Did you have a complicated freshman year?
Yeah, it was weird, for sure.
Was it? I'm like, does anyone love college in that way? Because...
Well, I think, yes, I think there is a magical... My experience is going away to college and living in dorms and whatnot, and there is a magical, oh my God, you are on your own. Oh my God, I'm going to get my own food every night. Like, I'm meeting all these new people. And there is an excitement, but I think that first semester especially can be very stressful.
Yeah.
I can remember coming back after winter break, after I'd started making some real friends and being really excited for that kind of second semester, getting more my groove.
Yeah.
But that can be very stressful.
I was really lucky that my roommate and I got along great. And she was my best friend for many years until, she wasn't. But I feel like I had a really actually smooth transition to college thanks to that. And my dorm was all girls, and I feel like that was helpful in kind of making friends. And yeah, I also felt lost. I had no sense of direction. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I mean, not that college kids necessarily should, but I don't remember even what I thought I was going to major in. Then when I went to UC Santa Barbara, I mean, that time was such a mess. And right now I'm mining that time for writing, and I'm thinking back on it. And I'm like, I was such a fish out of water there, which now is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because there's someone in our life who's kind of new in our life who also went to UCSB and basically is the exact person who I looked at and I was like, I wish I were like her. Like surfer,
oh, sure.
Beautiful, cool, probably wore like board shorts that, like Roxy.
Yeah.
I tried to buy Roxy board shorts, and even the like largest size it carried like looked just absurd on me. And not that I was normal bodied. It was just such a different culture. And it turns out she didn't have a good college experience.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people.
Yeah, I would have looked at her and gone like, she is exactly what yes,
yeah,
and it turns out she wasn't. So,
do you? And this is pivoting just slightly,
please,
and it's kind of a heavy question.
Oh,
but do you take any? I think solace might be the right word, in of what you've gone through. Let me preface this by what you've experienced with both of your parents passing away. I feel like you have navigated in such an amazing way. And,
do you? I mean, I'm still talking about it.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think there are so many different ways that this could have played out.
Oh, sure.
It would be like, oh boy,
that didn't work out great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say you and your sister have really, turned out amazing, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
Do you have any, with plenty of baggage probably from that experience, but nothing that's holding you back?
No, I mean, it's one of those weird things that it seems gross to say. I'm grateful for, not that, I wish my parents were still here, but I'm grateful for the experience. I think it shaped me in a way and gave me qualities that I really like versus, I have a lot of qualities I don't like, but the ones that I like are, I'm pretty self-sufficient. I have a kind of grit, and I think about dusting myself off. I love the people I love. I love it's a double-edged sword, but knowing that could be taken away. So I appreciate things in a way that I think that I might not necessarily if I hadn't had this experience. I think I'm pretty I can adapt to the twists and turns of life better. But So in that sense, I think it's shaped me in a way I'm actually grateful for, and I can't really imagine my life without having that.
Sure,
It's
of course.
such a defining thing for me.
Yeah.
And I do think before that and after that, I was just kind of like floundering. I mean, I didn't really know who I was. I was trying to be a good kid.
Yeah.
And I think I knew I was funny.
Yeah.
But that was about it. And then, sorry.
Yeah.
I've talked about this. I mean, I don't think I'd have you or my kids, our kids, if that hadn't have happened. I can't fathom a world where I would have, and I, on one level, really do think my parents intervened and kind of put us together. And then I also, on the other hand, just like logistically, no, I wouldn't have moved to New York. There's no world.
Sure.
We wouldn't have reconnected.
Yeah.
And so, it feels weird to say, but in that sense, I'm grateful that obviously I have the life I have.
But getting back to kind of everything you just said and using the example of you seeing me, tracking me on Hospital Road and being so worried.
Oh my God.
Is there any solace in the idea that heaven forbid something horrible happened to me? Let's use me as an example because we like getting dark in that way.
Yeah.
That you would be fine? Do you know what I mean? Like that, does that ever cross your mind in kind of high stakes tragic scenarios that you might run through your head, which you probably run through your head more than most people because you've experienced stuff, right? So that is maybe one of the things that you do more so than other people because you've experienced that tragedy. But like, do you ever then do the like, but fuck if Andy, did drive off the cliff, I'd figure it out.
Don't say drive off the cliff.
Okay, well, let's say
got
something else.
Got into an accident, or
I would rather drive off the cliff than get into an accident.
Unintentionally?
No.
Well, that's what it sounds when you say he drove off the cliff. That is exactly what it sounds like.
Okay. I don't want to take a big sidetrack here. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think most people drive off the cliff on purpose.
Andy, when the phrase he drove off, if he did drive off a cliff, I guarantee you 99.99% of people.
They Thelma and Louise did?
Yes, that's like exactly. So,
Okay, I'm learning things here too.
No, if you were in a terrible accident or whatever.
Okay. First
of all, that moment, like the sensation kicked in of time, like I was on the path. The time had already slowed, and it wasn't until I heard your voice answer the phone that I snapped out of it. Like I was already in the cycle of... Now, the thing is, we have the kids. I know I would be okay because I would have to be for their sake.
Maybe it's a weird question that I'm asking, that because for the person in it like yourself, it would be hard to answer that question. But me... Let's say I'm an angel right now, right? I know without a doubt you're going to be fine.
Well, I might be fine.
Who you are.
Thank you. That's nice. I might be fine, but I also think I would. I mean, it's kind of what we've talked about. Like, if you cheated on me or something like that, I feel like there's a world where I could come back from that. There's definitely a world where I couldn't, but it would never be as good as it was. So I feel like I would be moving forward being like, I know I will be okay, but I don't think it's ever going to be that week at the cabin where, we had laughs and love. And
right.
So in that sense, I mean, I hate talking about this. It makes me anxious, but in the others, I also kind of feel like I've paid my dues, sort of. And so
I know
you don't, like it just can't.
It's like it would just be so fucked up.
It would. I mean, but crazier things have happened, sure. But anyway, let's get the fuck out of this. I'm suddenly I'm getting like hot.
Oh, let's talk about one of my ex-girlfriends for a second.
Okay.
Because the other day,
I was just thinking about this conversation.
With our kids?
Yeah.
Somehow you brought up one of my ex-girlfriends, and a very funny way to our kids, which I thought was I thought it was appropriate.
Oh, this is good. We should bring this up because my sister listens to this podcast. It started because you were convinced I have skied with you multiple times before.
Oh, right.
And that I hadn't ever snowboarded until I met you.
Yeah.
And I was saying, no, I snowboarded a bunch before I met you. In fact, my sister broke her arm in Whistler when we were snowboarding together. I have evidence.
Yeah.
I've never skied before. And you were like, I know you have skied and I know you know how.
Yeah.
And I said, are you sure it wasn't with your ex-girlfriend?
Don't say their name. Yeah.
And we laughed. We had a good laugh.
Yes. And then the kids were there, and then you were joking about the ex-girlfriend.
And then I said, Daddy had an ex-girlfriend named Beep. Your mommy could have been named Beep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I want to talk to you about Beep.
Oh.
Okay.
This is like one of my favorite things to do.
Because I ran into Beep once in LA.
Oh my God, that is right.
Okay.
What?
And Beep and I knew each other in New York, so I was very surprised.
You knew each other in the biblical sense.
Oh yeah. And then I saw them in New York once, or in LA once.
Yeah.
Right.
How'd you run into them?
Just like out in a retail environment.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I carry around with me a fear
that you're going to run into Beep?
Again.
Why? What?
And
okay.
With you.
Oh.
And I want us to figure out how I should handle the situation and how you would handle the situation. What we do, what I do, what I don't do.
Okay. Let's play this out. I love this so much. Mm-hmm. First of all, let me just ask you, how did that interaction go?
The first interaction, I was just like surprised. I think I was very friendly. There may have been a hug, may have not. I don't remember. Did your crotch like rub up against her?
No.
It was like a hug from, you know how you do a hug from behind?
Can you imagine? Oh my God. Okay.
And I was with an artist I was working at, and we were like out grabbing food or something.
Which artist?
They're from New Zealand.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, and so it was just that kind of situation, and then met that Beep's boyfriend.
Oh. And how did that go?
I don't know. I think probably fine, because I don't think anyone knew probably what was going on until after.
Right. Yeah.
But so what happens if we run into them? I always fear we're going to run into them at a restaurant. Okay?
Okay, let's act this out.
Yeah.
I'm me. Uh-huh. You're you.
I'm me.
Yeah, I'll be Beep. I'm going to play two parts.
Okay. So do I just come up? If you're Beep, do I just walk up behind you, do the hug thing first? The behind hug?
Cup the breasts. No. Okay, here we go. Andy? I'm just kidding. Okay. I imagine she has like a dark, sexy, smoky voice. Andy?
Beep! Oh, hey!
Wow. Hi.
Hey. I'm stumped already.
Just you say.
Okay. Hey, oh my gosh, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Okay, this voice is so weird.
Okay.
It's so spot on.
Now I'm sitting.
I'm kidding.
I'm sitting next to you. What are you doing?
We sit next to them at the...
No.
That's a nightmare situation.
No.
You sit next to them at a restaurant.
She's walking past you. You were sitting at the table with me.
Oh, hey, this is my wife, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, this is Beep.
Beep?
Yeah. See, this is the problem.
Beep? Beep? Oh my gosh. It is so nice to meet you.
Here's the problem with this. Because if you are ever there, you won't be able to control the reaction. There will be a knowing look on your face.
Yeah.
And I think you'll handle yourself. But
I think I could cover it up enough.
But do you think you'll be more like, oh, what in
is the fear that it's going to seem like she's played too much a part of our lives? Like, I would be like, or is the fear that you don't want her to think that she was as important to you as she was?
Okay, hold on. I need you to. I kind of just like. I think I was like not zoning out, but like. Just spiraling about this, if this actually happens. Say that again.
Is your fear in my reaction? Because here's my concern. Are you nervous about this interaction mostly because you're nervous about how I'm going to react? And that it might lead her to think that she was really important to you and still plays a part in your life?
Okay. No. And that's...
Are you nervous?
Such an awesome way that your brain works. And also, I do love the idea of if I ran into an ex and their boyfriend was like, oh, like if I saw an expression on the face, that does feel triumphant in a weird way.
But also, wouldn't you then start to spiral and go like, was I really terrible? Like, has she talked about... It
depends on the expression on the face.
Yes, that's right. But for me, I would be like, oh, beef.
I've heard so much about you. That's a power move right there.
How long have you been in Los Angeles?
Right.
You still keeping like dairy and meat separate?
God damn it.
Okay, let's play it out again and I'll be real.
But I don't even... Okay. Hey. Oh, hey, beep. Hey, beep. I'll be so awkward in this.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
You'll be so awkward that I'll go beep.
Without even knowing who it was.
Yes. Okay.
That's my wife. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm starting to get...
You're as uncomfortable as I was talking about your impending death.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get out.
And also, let me just be clear. Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with beep. It's more like this really... thinking of this is an uncomfortable situation for me.
Tell me why. I similarly, I've had several times where I've thought I saw the liar I lived with.
Oh, yeah.
And like out in the world, which I wouldn't. He doesn't live here and I don't know.
Yeah.
But my heart, like every single time this has happened, I've been like, oh, fuck. And I think, well, in that sense, I'm like, I've talked about him not great on the podcast. You know, I've like, I don't know.
This isn't that. For me, this isn't, it's not really the ex-girlfriend of it all or beep. It's like, this is a specific social situation that could happen that
at any given time.
That I would not be good at navigating. And that causes me anxiety.
Here's what you would do.
Okay.
And honestly, if you saw her out, I would want you to like just nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
You go up to her and go, beep. Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you again. This is my wife, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, this is beep. And I would just go, oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And then
we talk about it later.
And then you'd be like, depending on where you are, like blah, 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 chit chat for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, we're going to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Be well.
But what if they're in the restaurant in a pretty close table? I get really like. If we got
that's like just an hour of your
to,
life that you're gonna have to white knuckle through.
Like no. Like say we get seated at a table next to them. I feel like I would, if I noticed that was about to happen, I feel like I would ask to be seated somewhere else with the hostess.
But you can't.
But that's how weird I am.
But both of you we'd all be feeling weird doing that. And I think what would happen is I'd make a joke about it. and be like, well, this is fun.
And then we'd all become friends.
Yeah, like it would seem like that.
Right. Again, I want to make clear to you that I'm not spiraling because of Beep.
And how meaningful she was in your life.
Exactly.
And like, yeah.
Exactly.
Who broke up with who?
Who broke up with who?
Or was it just kind of a mutual, like,
I don't know, actually. There is a world, I've never really thought of it, where it might have leaned more towards her breaking up with me, actually.
Actually.
Yeah, I can't fathom. I mean, it's so weird to even say
crazy.
that out loud.
What a nut job.
Anyways.
Well, I was thinking about that conversation with the kids regarding Beep, because in fun spirit, I was saying jokingly to the kids, your mom could have been named Beep.
Yeah.
Which
That's not how it actually works.
Right. But I literally was thinking about that today because it's weird that I was saying it would be like, you're the one who they would be coming from versus me. And this is not going to make sense. But growing up a few times, because there was this running joke in our family about the man that my mom almost or would have married had he proposed.
Okay.
Named Guttart. And my dad called him Goat Turd. And so there were sometimes funny things like, well...
Goat Turd could have been your dad?
Goat Turd, or she said to me a few times in jest, your name would have been Heidi or Hansel or Gretel or Greta. And...
Wait, joking? Or because that kind of sounds like your name would have actually been Heidi if she ended up with Goat Turd.
I think it was half joking. Like,
whoa.
So this goes into like, Goat Turd was, I think he was like one of the two loves that my mom had.
I can relate to that. I'm kidding.
Okay. I think Goat Turd broke my mom's heart in a major way. He lived, I don't even want to get, actually, I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay.
But so it was half joking. And obviously my mom was, I hope, very glad that she had me and my sister and was married to my dad and stuff. Yeah. But I feel like I said that because my mom had said that to me a few times.
Yeah.
But in that sense, it was like, you come from your mom. And I would have been me, even if my mom had been married to this other guy and made babies with this other guy, I still would have been me, just my name would be different and my whole life would be different. Do you know what I mean?
No, it works both ways.
I know
the
it
analogy,
does.
And it doesn't work in both ways because
I know
there's sperm and an egg, and it makes a unique thing.
I know, but what I regretted from that conversation was saying, like, they could have had a different mommy from you versus me. I wish I'd followed up with, or like, if I hadn't met Daddy, you could have had. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, their main origin is from me, not you.
But
it takes both. I know.
That's not right. It takes both.
Speaking of taking both, during this holiday, our daughter was asking, like, where the baby grows. And you very confidently said, the womb.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, it's the uterus. And I pulled up online pictures of where the uterus is. And she was asking about the bladder. And I was showing, like, how the uterus grows and with the baby and kind of smushes all of the organs around it out. It's like it's crazy when you really look at it. And you said, oh, so you didn't know that the baby grew in the uterus?
I knew
that's where the baby grew?
In the womb.
You didn't know that the uterus and the womb were the same thing. So
no, I'm upset. You making me look like a fool because of this. Why have two different names for it? Why haven't we just heard like, oh, the baby grows in the uterus?
Dick, penis, schlong.
No.
Salami.
No, that is not a fair argument. That
Yes,
is not a
it
fair argument.
Womb is like...
Okay, hold on. Dick? No. Dick is to schlong is not the same as uterus is to womb. If it was an SAT question.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
isn't
no,
womb
but dick
sort
to
of
penis would be.
Let's do penis to pickle.
No.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Penis to dick is.
Dick is not scientific.
Neither is womb.
Well, then
Womb's
that's
like,
where my confusion is.
Womb's like biblical. It's like, it's more like kind of artsy and poetic or something like that.
Are you sure?
No.
Yeah.
But hang on. Let me ask you this. I do feel justified in shaming you a bit because you've had 2 babies.
Yeah.
Like, you've experienced 2 pregnancies with me.
And they were in your womb.
What did you think that was?
The womb.
Okay. So it was like, so you know that you knew that the egg got fertilized in my uterus, right? And like burrows into the tissue.
Maybe.
And so what did you think then? It took a choo-choo train to some other room that's in my body? Like, what did you think happened?
I thought
fucking idiot.
I thought the baby grew in the womb. And I'm not even sure if it did grow in the uterus now. I don't know if the uterus and the womb are the same thing.
Oh my God. Well, I'm here telling you.
Would you just Google, is the womb the uterus question mark?
Oh my
just
God.
like that. Will you do that?
This is so obnoxious.
Is the womb the uterus question mark?
The uterus is an organ in the lower belly, abdomen, or pelvis. Is part of the female reproductive system. It's where a baby grows. It's sometimes called the womb.
Sometimes called the womb. Okay.
And fuck you for making me. I have had 2 babies. Fuck you. Okay.
But sometimes called the womb. It's not like it in slang for it is the womb. Do you see my confusion isn't that off base?
The uterus is the medical term for the womb. It is the Latin word for womb. It is about the size and shape of an inverted pear. But I do want to know, Andy. Yeah. I know you keep saying in the womb, but when my body for 10 months, twice over, went through this like insanely massive transformation.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you think was happening?
What do you mean? I just didn't know that the uterus and the womb are the same thing.
So yes, I have to think that you gave it some thought at some point in time. I would hope as like I went to that like doctor who like, my body was going through so much. And don't just say, I thought it was the womb. What did you think? Like, where did you think it was originally? And how did the baby get there?
Okay, wait.
I want to know.
You're coming at this from like a very
illogical and kind of confused as.
I was thinking we made a baby. I had a sperm, you had an egg. They came together, then it started growing, and then the baby grew in your womb. And I wasn't thinking we had sex and sperm went up this what's the tunnel called?
Vaginal canal.
The vaginal canal. And then I wasn't thinking about the uterus, or I wasn't thinking of the eggs dropping from the fallopian tubes. Is that right?
Well, this is when
Is that right?
Yes, it travels. It comes out of an ovary. It travels through the fallopian tube. This is, we're joking and stuff, and I feel totally justified shaming you through this. Now, I wouldn't if you had never had a baby or gotten someone pregnant or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm also like angry about this, and I'm angry that you're trying to dodge the question or act as though
I'm answering.
It makes me angry that you like either didn't give it any thought at all, which is what it seems like when you're going the womb, whatever. Because on top of this, like I had to go have that dye test done. I went through so much where they shot dye into my uterus, through my fallopian tubes to see if there were any blockages. And when that happened, they're doing it while they're giving you like an ultrasound or x-ray. They open your cervix by putting like a little balloon thing in and they puff it open. Mm-hmm. In my case, I had fucking Doogie Howser. Some like very young doctor came in, and I think it was his first time. I really do. He put it in, and when he rolled the table under the x-ray machine, the balloon thing that he had put in me, the end of it was caught on the other table.
Yeah.
And it popped out of my cervix.
No good.
Which was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my life. Mm-hmm. I saw white. I've never felt white pain like that. Mm-hmm. The nurse who was in there, was horrified. He's fumbling like a preteen, like trying to figure out what a vagina is. And then, so I have gone through so much.
Yeah.
And like for you to have not even given it a second thought to go, do you know what a period is?
Yeah.
What is
Let's
it?
not get off track here.
No.
What I'm saying is,
on.
I didn't know the womb and the uterus were the same thing. So in my mind, let's say if you were like, yeah, and then it starts growing in the uterus, I probably would have been like, oh, and then does it move into the womb or something? Like, I didn't know they were the same thing. And I'm also learning right now that the womb is not as scientific of a name as I thought it was either. It is the same as the uterus. I did not know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is a period?
It happens every 21 to 23-ish days.
Okay.
When a woman gets their menses cycle.
Right. Well, that's for perimenopausal women, I think, but yeah. But
and
do you know
shedding the lining of your uterus.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is the point of the lining?
I don't know.
Okay. This is why I'm like, where was this biology class or whatever?
I probably had it. I just didn't remember.
The lining is this kind of tissue padding that the fertilized egg burrows into to like give it this warm, padded, safe place to connect and grow. It's like it's an environment where the egg can then grow. Mm-hmm. Whereas if there's no lining, the egg can't like dig in and grow.
Okay.
That's why you don't get your period when you're pregnant, because the lining is important. It stays there.
Okay.
And that's all in your uterus, which is where the egg gets fertilized, usually, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And so it's all part of the same package.
Yeah. If you were to tell me, and I've never heard this, and probably one of the reasons I think they're two different things is I've never heard this, is your period is when you shed the lining of your womb. I would have been like, what? Are you serious? Does that put my confusion into any sort of new context that is a little bit more palatable to you?
Not really. Okay, not really.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm glad we had this conversation. I bet there's another guy out there who's listening who's like, oh, I bet there is.
Oh, I think it might be. I would love to know how many guys don't know.
I don't know that many guys who have. What I'm kind of confused about is I could have sworn that, you're such a great partner and you're so hands-on with everything. And I could have sworn like going through the process of pregnancy twice.
Yeah.
There were like, diagrams and doctor's offices. And I'm just like, did you not see any of it? Did you not hear any of it? I'm confused about that, but God love you. Now you know.
In one ear, out the other,
Well, it was a great opportunity to talk to our kid about that in a kind of matter-of-fact way, which I like.
Oh, yeah.
So great. Sorry if I came across as No, actually, I'm not going to do that. It's all good. I wonder if Beep would have railed on you this hard, you know? Do you think she was a gentler person?
A gentler person?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that would mean.
Like, this conversation, she wouldn't have gotten so aggressive.
Oh,
What's she like? What's she about? I'd love to get the feel for her
I'm hoping
energy.
that you get to meet Beep at some point.
Yeah, have dinner together.
Yeah.
Next to each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Oh, wait, real fast.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of New Year's resolutions. We talked about this already, but I wanted to add a few to it.
Oh, okay. What are your New Year's resolutions?
One is to seek out more awe.
Awe. How do you spell that?
AWE.
And then if you're saying like awe on a text message, it's just AW.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do multiple W's?
Yes, you can.
But no E.
Right.
Got it. And then AH is what?
Ah. It's like, ah. Or if it's HHH, it's like, ah.
Okay, got it. All right.
Okay.
I sometimes fumble with that on text messaging.
Well, I'm here to help anytime. So seek out more awe. I don't want to talk shit about people. It's like specific people. I'm comfortable on this podcast to the degree that we do here, but except for to you behind private closed doors. But I'm so over it.
The fact that this is a New Year's resolution.
Well, no.
I don't want to talk shit about people except to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're my like safe person. I think that's fair.
Okay.
And not that this happens a ton or anything. I'm not out there talking shit all the time, but there's just no good can come of it.
Love it. Yep.
As Taylor Swift quote, like she doesn't talk trash because the trash takes itself out every time. Okay, so then, those and one that I think I share with you, read more.
Yeah, that's my only one this year is to read more.
I love that.
Yeah.
How's it going so far? I mean, I noticed that you're reading a lot.
Yeah. So far, I did a whole book on our vacation, and I started a new book. Really depressing book.
What book?
It's called A People's History of America. It's a really famous
yes,
book.
I've heard about this.
Oh, God. It's like...
We've come a long way, haven't we?
No, I don't know if that's true.
Oh.
But it's like instead of like the history books we grew up with, like... I just started it, but the example is like... We learned about Christopher Columbus in a way of like, and he came over, and he's the reason we're all here. This book, in that case, it's from the perspective of all the people Christopher Columbus fucked over. So it's so intense, so depressing.
The real story. I mean, the real story.
Yeah. So it's intense. So it's a bit of a, it's very interesting.
Well, I just read a great book called We All Want Impossible Things that was so well written by Catherine Newman. I love it. But it's about her best friend dying from cancer.
Awesome.
All right. Good night.
Good night.